Hi there, this is Amy, and this is my gym day. So, this is how you get me today. Um, but I've been inspired to share some fun treasures from my walk thus far. Um, with this information I have, it makes me see things a lot differently from definitely a different angle. And it came about from me connecting with a psychic medium friend of mine. And for those who don't know, a psychic and a medium are kind of different. Psychics are more in touch with their intuitive tool gifts, and mediums are have the ability to connect with the spirit world. A lot of them can do both. Matter of fact, we all can. It's just how much of it have we developed, how much of it were we naturally born with. But I do believe if you want to get better at anything, you can. It's like riding a bike or just anything that you develop some sort of muscle memory to. You can develop spiritual memory to. Dreaming is a really good example of that. So if you choose to enhance your dreaming time, you can totally do that. There's all kind of tricks out there to make that happen. I have a 12th house stellium, and it activates a lot of dream action in my life, which has been a huge gift in guiding me. So, connecting with this psychic medium, she shared with me that my children were my spirit guides as I was being born. Oh my God, does that put a completely different spin on everything for me when I realized that? And how that's possible. Because, like, when someone passes, we know that they go to the spirit world, but I think I forgot about the aspect of someone that isn't born yet also being in the spirit world. So I know a little bit more about how that works, and it just makes me really want to remind people who are getting pregnant or who are pregnant that the soul is available to talk to. And so, like, when you really start recognizing the full circleness of energy and how we incarnate and then we come back in, birth, death, the cycle of life, all that good stuff. It's just kind of cool the power we start wielding in our day-to-day lives. And I'll use this example as I have a friend of mine who was pregnant, and I had kind of asked her, she knew it was going to be a boy, and I asked her if she was going to have him circumcised. And she said she wasn't sure. She was watching an American circumcision documentary that they had, which I thought was already fascinating that she's curious about that. Of course, I'm not sure that everyone actually asked that many questions, but she for sure did. I didn't have boys, so that wasn't on my radar. So for her, it was on her radar, and I think this generation is starting to ask why a lot more. Why do we keep doing this, and why do we do that? And so her heart pull was to start asking questions about this. And that comes from an intuitive notion, I think, to connect the soul with the kind of experience he wants to have. So that's kind of what I encouraged her to do, because I now know that my kids were my spirit guides as they were coming in, that we have the ability to talk to the being that is coming in before we get pregnant, and the, like, and then the ones that have passed. So, like, when you're not in a body, you can still talk to them. So in this instance, I'm encouraging her also to talk to the soul that is already connected to or about to connect with the vessel. I believe that the soul chooses when it will actually attach to the vessel. So that's a very personal thing for each of the people participating. So on a soul level, I believe we also have agreed to that before it happens. So a lot of those things we don't necessarily remember, but we start to discover along the way. So anyway, this person, I just encourage her to start talking to the soul and just ask, like, what do you want? Do you want an experience with a circumcision, or do you want an experience without one? And I think that from my understanding, when she went to have the baby, He was born, but there was some minor complication, and the doctor came in and said, hey, we're going to have to reschedule the circumcision. We weren't able to do it. And so I think she got her answer. But it was a really kind of cool confirmation for me to recognize that, you know, the soul is timeless and infinite, and time is an illusion that only works out depending on what planet you're on. So anyway, very cool experience. Also, funny story. I think that at least my oldest daughter used to send me out shopping for vintage clothing before she got here, because 20 years later, I have an outfit in my closet that I've hardly worn that she grabs on her way to Paris, and she's like, I've been wanting to take this to Paris with me. And so my mind starts thinking, like, was she the one who helped me pick that out? So anyway, it was just kind of funny little synchronicity that I may or may not get to prove, but makes perfect sense to me. So anyway, for those who are expecting a baby, for those who want to have a baby, for those who have loved ones in spirit, I believe they can hear us all the time, and it's just our ability to listen, our desire to listen, our, I think there's a word I'd like to use, not coming to me now, compelled. Like, you know, those are the things that help us follow our heart. I'm super not a fan of the broad stroke of the sword, and I think it's, you know, done its part, but now it's time to really get into each individual's choice, and the choices with the people you're involved with. So the broad stroke of the sword, in the instance of vaccinations. I'm, at this point, not a fan of vaccinations, but I did vaccinate both my kids. Now, I didn't have the conscious awareness. I'm not sure the planet was safe enough of a place to not have vaccinations. But I do believe, because the consciousness is rising about it, that it isn't going to be necessary for everyone to have the vaccination. So I'm not saying it was bad ever, or perhaps, right, it's these people that have possibly volunteered to reveal the dysfunction in it. Who freaking knows? What I know is that it is our best interest to know our heart, to feel and listen to our internal nudges, those things that called our attention, and to really start beginning to trust that kind of stuff. So anyway, fun and fascinating facts about my children, and so just kind of an interesting spin. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.